So this, my friends ask me, my friends know that UFOs have been my hobby for a long time because of all of my personal videos and experiences that I've had. For me, and whenever I do one of these videos, I always tell people, for me, it's not extraordinary. It's not extraordinary. When I ask a question and I get an answer, I cannot tell you how privileged I feel as a human being. The intelligences watching our planet have to be sad. Maybe seeing this type of destruction before. Maybe some make it and maybe some don't. But again, once you can control and have everything, you don't need anything. You don't have to work. You don't have to be hungry. You don't have to be in pain. You can be anywhere you want at any time. You can travel any distance that you wish to travel, including multi-dimensional travel. You don't need anything. There's only one thing. There's only one thing that could possibly be worth anything in this universe, and that is life. Sentient life, all life, but especially sentient life. So most people, I keep saying I'm going to redo my near-death experience videos, and it's important that I do that. But it's not a 1 hour thing. It takes maybe a couple of weeks of doing hour-long videos to try to get the point across about what I experienced, how I figured out during my entire lifetime that the event was an actual fact, that I had denied that event my entire life, that I always considered it there was some sort of biological reason why I had the event I had. But then, when you start having events happen that you were shown, when you're finally confronted with the ultimate, okay, this is too much to have been a coincidence or deja vu. Deja vu is simply the mind predicting an event that could or might happen with such accuracy that when the moment happens, you're like, well, what comes next? Well, you didn't think of that. This is not that. This kind of deja vu is not that. This is a reconciliation of information that I can't deny. And that was the moment that I put all intelligence in the universe in the same bag with me. I consider myself a citizen of the universe, of the sentient universe. I'm not an American or a Chinese or Russian or Italian or, French, right? Ecuadorian, whatever. I'm a citizen of the universe. I understand. I understand now that what I was shown was the truth, and that was the ugliness of mankind to a degree that it affected me my entire life. What I was shown affected me my entire life. The disgusting, useless, senseless destruction of a sentient intelligence, because they had a disease, they could not shed the animal that couldn't get enough. Why monkeys, even though they had hands, they still developed giant cheek pouches because what they could carry was not enough. And the way our society is set up was set up by defective human beings. Not smarter, better, more ingenious. It was set up by the most defective, animalistic of us. The universe doesn't want bad information. And that's all we're doing. These beings, it's evident that if they can get here, that they made it. that the universe, that they've come to a balance with their environment. This, like, you know, like the Yanomami or whatever, you know, you live within your environment to a degree that you have a relationship with it. I, for one, as an American Indian, believe that land should have rights, water should have rights. They're very connected. My near-death experience and my search for an answer for that led me to quantum mechanics, finally ending up really with the understanding more the quantum biology side of it with Sir Roger Penrose, talking about microtubules and how they appear to be holding digital information. That basically told me instantly, as soon as I read that, I knew it was the truth. And that was the answer I was seeking. And yes, the event that I had really did happen. And yes, there is something after this existence. That really, the only thing that is permanent, the only thing that is capable of permanency in this dimension where we are now, this physical place, okay, is rational intelligence, sentience, conscious sentience, not instinct. The trouble with us is we still have too much instinct. We're at a critical phase, and that's what they're watching. Are they going to be able to defeat the animal within them? Look what's going on now in the United States with all these fucking red meat-eating fucking religious freaks that are like, kill everybody, hang people, because God wants us to kill them. That sounds exactly like the Middle East to me. Religion is one of man's most tragic fucking diseases because they can't follow its basic premise, which is you are your brother's keeper. Yes, be kind to others. No, don't take more than you need, etc., etc., etc. It's all common fucking sense. We know what's right and what's not right. But that animal in there, he can't fucking have enough. And some of us just take that to an extreme. These billionaires, they never give back. They fight as hard as they can. The richest of our society fight the hardest to keep what they have. They refuse to share a fucking dime, and they want more. Okay, if they're diseased, they're fucked up, and these intelligences are watching our planet and going, gee, man, I hope they make it. It looks pretty, this is very interesting because this looks unsolvable. It looks like the way they have their society set up is that it's meant to self-destruct because there's no breakaway point. There's no right or left turn away from this course because the system that was set up is a straight fucking line. And they're struggling to make it off of that. There is no fucking off-ramp, okay? It's going to happen right in the middle of the goddamn road. It's going to be a fucking car accident. That's what's going to happen for us to change. And if we survive, then we may deserve to be part of this, whatever it is, organization, because they all meet here and coexist with one another. Now, if they were like us, they'd all be fighting over the planet Earth right now. We'd be seeing, super weapons in space battles and shit. Now, supposedly, through wood carvings from early Germany, 12th century, 14th century, that they saw black triangles and colored lights fighting in the sky. So I've always thought that we were being protected, that there are species out there that would rather see us just go the fuck away because they know what we are. We're not, we're a problem child for the universe. We create bad information for entertainment, let alone, trying to make the universe a better place. They're watching us and just shaking their heads, okay? This event in Vegas the other day where the guy is, we're scared. They look like monsters. They're aliens. I'm like, dude, you had an opportunity that only 1 in a million has to go over and show your hands and mentally ask them, do you need any help? Period. Do you think that beings who can get here couldn't defend themselves? Really? Do you think they were afraid, or maybe they were hoping beyond hope that one of those people that are standing there and sharks fucking terrorized, okay, because they've been taught that anything that doesn't look like them is bad. It wants to eat their children or suck their blood, or, you know what I mean? I had that list. I did the list in, when the fuck was that? 2015 or 2016. I did the list with 2,200 alien, otherworldly sci-fi movies, okay? And 2 of them, the alien was a good person and saved the planet. Everything that people have been shown their whole life is that aliens are bad. The military, they want you to believe aliens are bad. You see, they need an enemy. I'm suspicious of any fucking event that happens, because the money and the criminality that has happened, that I've been talking about on the Gamers page for 15 years about hidden technologies, yeah, they have to have a way to come out. They have to have a way to get out of their cubbyhole where they're at. And a red flag operation with aliens is the perfect thing to happen. But you see how many events have happened and no one's been hurt. People miss the opportunity to have an experience that is beyond human. So I asked a question one night, and I've done this video numerous times. I looked up and I asked a question. I won't say what that question is, but I got a very bright pinpoint flash right in my eye. Now, instantly, my mind said, that was some stray fucking cosmic particle striking my optic nerve. Da-da. Before I could even get that rational thought back, another one happened in the exact same spot that was much brighter. Like, okay, that's enough here. I never really asked before. There was one other event happened that was probably a coincidence. I didn't get an answer, but I looked up and I said, you know, if there's any, could you show me, if you're up there, could you, I didn't even form the full thought, but evidently if it was either coincidence or someone up there was listening and had some fun and went from here to the horizon in a zigzag line, stopping and going, and I was like, thank you. You see, because that was not a flashing light. I've got some strange fucking shit on video, but that was someone showing off. That was definitely someone showing off, going, yeah, watch the fuck about this, buddy. I mean, it was just staggering, and I had another friend tell me he saw the exact same thing. Because, you see, I knew right there, my rational mind went, okay, that is physically impossible. What I just saw cannot be accomplished. From any known laws of physics, that, as I understand it, that what I just witnessed is fucking impossible. And that was the whole point. The other was a let's call it a philosophical question. And the answer wasn't really what I expected, but I accept it. And sometimes I have a problem accepting it, but then I've understood that I have a limited intelligence. I'll go back and I'll do my near-death videos, and you'll see that a lot of it has to do with what's happening in the world today. That's why I came back. That there are people right now in society, good people, who are deciding to leave this existence because they don't see any point. They don't see the point. It's more suffering than any good. Why? That's a negative fucking balance. You see, but those people have lost God in some way because they've been entangled with this religious shit on our planet. God has nothing to do with this religious garbage that we have going on our planet. Okay, that is all fucking cult bullshit. The God that I saw is the God of 1 trillion beings. And what they showed me absolutely proved that this religious thing on our planet is one of our main curses. It's how the control is maintained in a lot of situations, not just financially, mentally, fucking cultism. So I'll do it again. It's hard. When I talk about it, it's hard because I understand how there was nothing I could do. My whole life I've fought against my responsibility because I didn't want to be embarrassed or had people think that I was weird or, you know, you're crazy thinking the shit you think. You know what I mean? I was afraid of that. And then YouTube, you see, when I found the bridge that I talk about in my near-death experience, when I found that bridge, which was YouTube, it connected me all over the world. And when I started out, I didn't want to show my face. I didn't want to talk about me personally. I didn't want to share my life with anybody. I just wanted to talk about ice. I figured that was the best way to get people to understand that climate change was real, that I had experienced in 1964 when I was in grade school. We watched a movie that was produced by Disney with the bald scientist guy that did all the technical Disney videos. Okay, he played the scientist. Showed glaciers collapsing and falling into the ocean with this very dramatic music, saying that if the temperature of the Earth changed by 1 degree, okay, it could end all mankind. Well, maybe everyone in that class didn't remember it, but my mind doesn't work that way. I remember every second of that fucking video. And what it tells me is the fucked up things about us. How we allowed ourselves to believe a fucking lie, like filling our atmosphere with carbon doesn't do any harm. Come on. You have to be some kind of ignoramus, man. If you don't understand basic fucking chemical principles. I ask people, do you believe in a thermometer? Well, yeah. Okay, well then you believe in climate change. You just don't want to read the data. They're watching us because of all of that. Our wars. It's a fucking hobby with us. Because the military-industrial complex needs to be able to blow shit up. If you don't blow shit up, it just sits in a warehouse and gets old and gets bad. And then you got to pay to throw it away. Got to find some place to drop all those old bombs. Painful for me to think about the truth because I do not wear rose-colored glasses. It is incredibly fucking hard to pull the wool over these eyes, which is why the military never got along with me, because I had no awe of rank. And when I told the commander of my base he could shove it up his fucking ass and this was what was gonna happen. I watched someone really freak the fuck out for the first time in my life because this person had never been spoken to like that. Because they weren't smart enough to understand who I was. Sun Tzu, do not underestimate your enemy. And when I showed him the proof that I had, he shit his fucking pants. He ate his words and we parted ways amicably. But since then, I've understood what our military does with this hidden technology, and it's not for our fucking benefit. They give it to the goddamn commercialized morons out there who don't want to do anything but turn it into a technology to sell us that actually belongs to us. Free energy for everybody. How the fuck do you justify not telling people that you have energy sources that can power a watch or a city? How do you justify that to the public? How do you bring that information out? They call it ace in the hole technologies. This guy that's come forward, okay? I am still very suspicious of him even because you see, that's how you have to come out. There's only one way, good cop, bad cop, or victim. And this guy is going to be the victim of this everybody picking on me, and that's how the information gets dribbled out faster. You see? They're just hoping for a global fucking conflict so they can use their technology to be the big saviors. I've always feared that. The false flag operation. The United States is really good at that. Other countries too, by the way. Yes, my near-death experience, what's happening right now in the world are all tied together. And why I tell people, you are important. I understand how painful it is to be here. I understand how painful it is to be here. I have lived a life of pain. One of the things they showed me was that my life would be pain and lots of it. Physical pain. But I guess it tempers you. So I'll try to start it next week. I know I keep saying that, but it's very hard. It's hard. It's not an hour long video and you got the whole story. It doesn't happen that way because everything is so interconnected. If I don't tell you the whole story, you really won't understand how I experienced that and how it's changed and altered my existence throughout time. And right to this point where I am right now. I used to feel guilty when I would go for a ride on my bike and I would ride like a fucking madman, scraping my knee at 180 miles an hour, coming down a fucking hill that most people couldn't drive their car down at 65 miles an hour. And I knew I wasn't going to die. I almost felt like I was cheating. Which is why I've done shit in airplanes and shit that most people would say is impossible, especially for the type of aircraft that I did it in. But I knew I wasn't going to die. I knew that I was going to be, well, I won't say, but I knew that it wasn't going to be then. I was going to be old. I'll discuss it. It's all tied together. Alien intelligence is part of what I was shown. It was part of why it's been such an experience for me. A whole life I've had things happen to me that were either related to information lost in time or alien intelligence. And my ancestors, the Winnem and Wintu women, they always had the ability to call and talk to aliens and have them visit Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is right there. I grew up out here in the middle of fucking nowhere in a cabin. I would stay there for extended periods of time by myself. So I remember having many experiences out there. I remember watching little silver balls go up and down the fucking river. Up and down the river. It was normal for us to see that. It wasn't anything special. My sister, my nephews, not unnormal. And they've also had all very intense UFO experiences, our family. And I started thinking, well, you know, if they were going to study an animal, they would follow it down its line. Okay, this lion had these kids and this female ended up being the surviving member and she sired this female, and they would follow the family line all the way down. That's what you would do with biological entities, especially ones as complex as us. So it doesn't seem bizarre to me that I would be used in an experiment. And I've made many videos where I said, you're welcome to any bodily fluid you would like to take. Just don't take it all. You're welcome to any, okay? Yeah, it's weird. I'm not prescient. I don't see the future. When those things happen that I've thought about for a lifetime, I've had that picture in my mind for a lifetime, not a deja vu moment where your mind has made it up. No, this is a picture, a firm picture in my mind from one of the slices I took. I took slices of what they showed me. They showed me from when I went back all the way until my life separated into a Y. They never showed me my death. They just showed my life separated into a Y. One, I committed suicide, and I never did see myself die in that. I'll explain about that. And the other, I went on to help other people, a limited number of people who needed to hear what I had to say. That as fucked up as this place is, you have to stay because that's how important you are. That your timeline ends when it is supposed to. It's incredibly critical for untold numbers of beings that you're responsible for. And they will be able to experience that, okay? And that's not allowed. You will just get in a loop, and time will move on without you, and you'll just sit in this loop until you decide, okay, well, I'm going to go back. And then you'll start right back where you were before. There is no reincarnation or any of this. People that experience that, like kids especially, where they're like, oh, I remember being a fighter pilot was one. Or I remember being a scientist, another. You know, these kids remember. That is information that you're accessing before your birth. I'll talk about that in my near-death experience. They showed me that there is a before, okay? Where all this information is being created. And you look at the holographic principle of reality, and we are supposedly three-dimensional information being broadcast in from some infinite point because our minds can't understand infinity. But they experienced the life of another being, because where I went, you could experience the life of every being, can experience the life of every other being, regardless of what they look like. I talk about the tree people. There was 6 of them around the pillar of God. And their shape of their heads, I knew by the shape of their heads that was their faces. And then every other being that you could imagine, an infinite number of different looking types of sentient beings that went on for light years. And yes, we're out there far, far, far from God, but luckily we made it. That's what I tell people, okay? We made it. That's the good news. The bad news is we don't carry a lot of information other people want to experience, but we do want to experience other people's information. And where I went, that temporary place where I went, you had all knowledge because you had the knowledge of those people. They were there. Where we're cleaned. We get rid of all of the ugliness and the animalism of the information. The information does not change and cannot change, okay? But the content of it can change. And where I went, that's where you're clean, washed out, okay? And then when you go, people experience your life as you live it, but when they decide to stop that, okay, they're not harmed or injured. That's the only way I can explain it. But every being can live the life of every other being, from birth to death. And there it only takes a trillionth of a second to live an entire lifetime. And even then it would take trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of years to live all the lives that were there. It's the perfect system around God. And we self-punish. All these billionaires and shit, listen, all these people are going to pay the price. Putin, all these guys, Stalin's, you know what I mean? They're all going to pay the fucking price for the evil that you do in this world. The information is permanent. You do not escape it. You live it. All the harm that you have caused other people, you will live personally in their bodies from birth to death. That means that people like Hitler and Stalin and Putin are going to be getting killed thousands of times. They'll be dying in war. They'll be being shot on the street, innocent children, okay? They will experience that for real. It's, they showed me my life is fucking terrifying. So I can imagine what these guys go through. And if you have $1 billion and someone starves to death, yes, you are responsible. I can tell you that right now, 100% for sure. If you have more than you need and you hoard that, okay, you might as well be fucking starving that person. Yes, that is fucking real, okay, and there is no escaping that, which is kind of makes me feel, okay, I'll hang around and do my job because I know these guys are going to pay a horrible price. Not that it's going to do any good now. That's the part that hurts, okay? Is that I wish they could experience what I experienced, because every last one of them would spend every dime they had trying to feed and help people. If they went through what I went through, it would change them fucking permanently. Read about other near-death experiences and you'll see that it changes you forever. It's a permanent thing. It's not a dream. It's permanent. I'll explain about all the electromagnetic, molecular, psychological things that I tried to replicate the event and could not, including DMT. Not the same. Not fleeting. Fucking permanent. It changes you. So, okay, I had to get that out. When I read the article about the people experiencing the UFO, and there is this fuzzy, it's always fuzzy video, right, of these aliens behind a forklift. I'm like, okay. So the guy passed up the opportunity of a lifetime because they were terrified. These aliens weren't making them terrified. He just said he couldn't move. Well, that's what happens when you're terrified. You see, I always look forward to it. if something landed in my backyard, the first thing I would do is I would show them my hands. I would maybe, give a smile, and I would mentally ask, is there anything I can do to help? And then I would have a million fucking questions. Okay, I think that's it for today. Read the articles. You see more. I told my friends almost 20 years ago, there's going to come a time, probably in the 2020s, when information about UFOs will start to come out daily. That it will be, the government will come out and say, okay, yeah, they're real, but you still won't get any fucking truth or information. That these black ops groups will only get blacker. Okay? Because as technology advances, the information becomes easily accessible. You could run a program right now and find out who was using it. I'm sure there's an algorithm to figure out who the fuck's keeping these secrets, right? So, yeah, it's more and more and more. You're going to see it more and more, okay? But yeah, watch out for the false flag, because they've had thousands of years. Why would an alien species wait until we had atomic fucking weapons and laser beams before they decided to get rid of us?